One of the questions I get asked all the time when doing filler is, oh my fucking God, what happens if I get a vascular occlusion in my face or in my lip? Am I gonna die? Are my lips gonna fall off? Am I gonna look like Voldemort if I get a vascular occlusion in my nose? So let's break it down and talk about it really honestly. Let me bring you a bit closer for this one, hold on. So, a vascular occlusion, what is it? It is basically where filler gets into an artery and it's been injected and it has started to block the blood flow within the face. Signs that this is starting to happen is that the area becomes mottled and white, it becomes cold and painful, and that your capillary refill check, which is basically where you press down really, really hard for about 5 to 7 seconds, and when you let go, you see how it's turned from white back to pink? That's your blood flow. If that is kind of sluggish and starting to come back really slow, then those can be the signs of a vascular compromise leading on to a vascular occlusion. Now, it's super important to know that this can happen to anyone. It can happen to even the most skilled injectors ever, and it can happen to people that are just starting out. It is one of those things that can happen. Unfortunately, as injectors, we don't have X-ray vision. I think if I was an Avenger, that would be what I would pick, but we don't have X-ray eyes, and there is no safe way to do filler. So we are just picking the safest way to do it to minimize complications and keep you as safe as possible. So let's kind of talk about what happens if you do have a vascular occlusion. Now, the very first thing that your practitioner will do is they will ask you to send them a video of you doing those capillary refill checks, and they will actually ask you to come in person just so they can check everything face to face. Majority of the time, your practitioner isn't asking you to come in because they are massively concerned about anything. A lot of the time, I always drag my clients back in just so I can sleep peacefully at night. And you just, as a good practitioner, you always bring them back in just to double check because you'd rather be safe than sorry. Now, if you come to see your practitioner and your cap refill is really slow, it's looking sluggish, and there are signs of a vascular compromise, majority of the time it will rectify and that blood flow will get back round with heat compress, massaging and antihistamines. But if that does not work, then the next stage up is if you have got a vascular occlusion, then your practitioner will emergency dissolve the area with Hyalase. So usually there is a patch test. With the emergency, I always patch test anyway, but you flush the area with Hyalase. I've done a video further back on how Hyalase dissolves filler, but I'll happily do it again, and that will get the blood flow going back again. So the videos and the pictures you see with the girls that have like got their lips falling off and their noses falling off, they look like Voldemort. You're not going to look like that. That is only the cases where unfortunately they've contacted their practitioner with a vascular occlusion and the practitioner has either blocked them, ignored them, or basically shunned them off. That is when it gets bad, but it should never ever get to that point. And I know what a lot of you are thinking. You're thinking, oh my fucking God, this video has really put me off getting lip filler. Do not let it. At the end of the day, one thing I always pride myself on with my clients is that I am always 110% honest about everything that is happening. Every complication, every possibility. You've always got to be honest with your clients and just make them prepared for the possibility. But a good practitioner will always know how to deal with those complications.